Welcome back, Alexandrian Codex. It's, Friday? Yeah, Friday, May 28th, 2021. I just want to take a quick look at some changes that I've made here. Little unnecessary lore insight. When I was first working on this Victoria 2 mod project, it was not as a mod project. The original design was for just an in-depth after-action report. And then I just kept learning more and learning more and learning more and being like, oh, well, this doesn't match up with history very well, and this feels like I want to portray this, but I just kind of have to bullshit it. And eventually that spiraled out into this beautiful monstrosity. So I've gone back to some of those notes. I actually have a notebook that the first 100 pages of it are year by year, 1836, 1837, 1838, all the way through 1936, about relevant things that happened in that year that I could use for the after-action report. And I think it was my intention to convert these into in-game events for Victoria 2, and then I just kind of didn't. I did some, like, really big ones, but largely I just put this off and forgotten about it. Because, like, when I first started modding Victoria 2, I didn't really know how, like, events worked or the code looked like, and I was kind of timid. But, well, hubris has gotten the better of me, so I no longer feel that way. What did I start today out with? 469. Okay, 469. So this is only like a few things. I've made, before we get into that, I've made some party loyalty changes based off of the 1836 presidential election, just to throw in a bit more variety, make the US look a little bit more complicated. So I've walked back some of the more jarring, or I've walked back some of the polarization a little bit. In some places here have gotten more polarized because of the election results, but you know, the 1836 election results would probably be weighted a little bit more heavily than the 1832 or 28 or whatever election results I was using to weigh them before. So that said, I just completely forgot 69. Yeah, 64, 164.69 is where we start. Nice, by the way. So event 69.469 is an event called To the People of Texas and All Americans in the World. This is the name of a letter sent by Lieutenant Colonel William Barrett Travis, who was at the Alamo. It's basically a romantic call to arms. I mean, you can read this yourself, but since I typed it in, might as well read it. This is just the letter, wholesale. I did not make any changes here. To the people of Texas and all Americans in the world, fellow citizens and compatriots, I am besieged by 1,000 or more of Mexicans under Santa Anna. I've sustained a continual bombardment and cannonade for 24 hours and have not lost a man. The enemy have demanded a surrender at discretion, otherwise the garrison here to be put to the sword if the fort is taken. I have answered the demand with a cannon shot, and our flag still waves proudly from the walls. I shall never surrender or retreat. Then I call on you in the name of liberty, of patriotism, and everything dear to the American character to come to our aid. With all dispatch, the enemy is receiving reinforcements daily and will no doubt increase to 2 or 3 or 4,000 in 4 or 5 days. If this call is neglected, I'm determined to sustain myself as long as possible and die like a soldier who never forgets what is due his honor and that of his country. Victory or death. William Barrett Travis, Lieutenant Colonel, Commander. Victory or death. So this just gives one prestige because this is really it should be giving prestige to Texas, but I want Americans to see this because the Americans were the audience of this. This is still very famous piece of literature, I guess. I mean, it was a letter. Is a letter literature? I mean, I guess it is eventually dependent on the context. Victory or death, US becomes 1% more jingoist. These events I'm doing, I really want them to just have like teeny tiny nudges in one direction or another, but be ultimately just flavor and inconsequential. Is that good game design? Just more spam events? Dog, I don't know, but that's what I've done. So that's that. Next up is I done fucked up, didn't I? Did I just skip 70 and type in 71? I hope I just typed in 71 instead of 70. I didn't. Why is this firing for 470? What fires for 471? There is no event with 471. Yes, there is. Yes, there is game. Here's 69 470. I'm a fucking idiot. I'm a fucking idiot. Alright, cool. Well, I've just learned that this would overwrite this. Okay, cool. Fair enough. Fair enough. So the next two events we can start talking about as I load it up because my dumbass forgot to change a single number. And that's why you playtest shit. That's also why you like double check your code instead of just firing off a few events first thing in the morning. But I've been awake since like 4 a.m. I had breakfast, I took a shower, I lost a couple of hours to the internet. I don't really know what I was doing. I watched some YouTube things. Scott Manley stuff for the most part. Dude is a joy. Dude is just a joy. I haven't worked this long on this. I was really going over my notes for the most part. Let's see. There we go. Okay, 1470. Or 69 470 should be Colt's revolver. On February 25th, 1836, American inventor by the name of Samuel Colt patented the first revolver making use of percussion caps, marking the beginning of a new generation of firearm that was faster, safer, and more reliable than Collier's older flintlock design. Collier? I assume it's Collier, but I don't know. By the time that Colt died in 1862, his invention had proliferated to the point of ubiquity across the American western frontier and had made him one of the richest men in America. Colt's manufacturing company, founded in 1855, would go on to dominate the American firearms industry for much of the next century. Options here: Peacemaker, get 5 prestige, 1% more jingoistic, or the Devil's Right Hand, 1% more pacifistic. Like I said, just like some small options. And the last one I've done, I'm going year by year. I don't think I'm gonna post one for every year because then we'd have like 100 fucking videos of me detailing this. Which is why I backed off of doing this sooner. This is a lot of content. Even if I only do 1 per year, that's 100 new events. If I do 3 per year, like I'm just showing here, that's 300 new events. That's a shit ton of events, and like a shit ton of prestige if they all just give 1 prestige or whatever. So some of them are just not gonna give prestige. I'm gonna have to weigh if like an event is important enough or not. And honestly, a lot of the time I won't know for certain. Anyway, Alexander Twilight. On October 15th, 1836, Alexander Twilight, educator and minister, became the first African-American elected to a state legislature, serving in the Vermont House of Representatives. In 1823, he'd become the first African-American to receive a degree from an American institution of higher learning, earning his Bachelor of Arts degree at Middlebury College. No further African Americans would be elected to a state legislature until after the American Civil War. All pops in the U.S. that are Afro-American gain one consciousness. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and make a quick executive decision here. Hey, to the people of Texas, this isn't worthy of a prestige. It sparks some jingoism, sure. Prestige. Colt's pretty important, but again, I'm worried about prestige inflation from these events, so we'll turn that down to a 2. Again, I want these to just be mostly flavor, but like a little impactful. And that's it for 1836. I'm probably going to do these decade by decade in terms of video, but I wanted to demonstrate what I'm working on now, because I probably won't be streaming me working on this because there's a lot of windows I have to go back and forth through. And I wanted to bookend the me coding part of the morning so I can convince myself to get into the me working out part of the morning, which I've just been putting off and putting off and putting off. So yeah, I'm gonna put in a cut here. I'll probably be back on today streaming some of this, some of Stellaris, some of something. I don't fucking know. But until then, I'm gonna say toodaloo. Take care. I will see you then. Bye-bye.